Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Always honored to be the host of MMA Fancast. Welcome back to all of you who are already subscribers. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming right at you. I'm always honored to have a first-time guest of the show. This first-time guest of the show is very special. He's an undefeated 7-0 amateur kickboxer, perfect record, and fresh off a championship win up in New York, winning the K Series promotions. Put your proverbial hands together for the champ, Jake Kelly. Welcome, champ.
What's up? What's up?
It's great having you on the show, Jake. I had to look down and make sure I said your name, Jake, because you have a brother, Zach, who I've had on the show, I think at least once, a pro boxer, pro kickboxer, pro MMA, but now focused primarily in on pro boxing. I've actually been to one of his pro MMA fights. You'll remember it. It was the pro MMA fight where he actually beat his opponent twice, knocked him out, choked him out. You were there. I was there. Incredible night. I've never seen a night. Hopefully we never see a night like that again. Crazy. I actually back then was interviewing on a YouTube channel called Fighting Stance Media. That interview is still out there, entitled Zach Kelly Talks About Winning the Same Fight Twice in One Night, or some crazy story from about 5 years ago. But Jake, you're here on your own right. It's really exciting. Before we talk about your championship undefeated run, what got you into MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, any type of sport? What was your background that got you into martial arts?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. Second, hello, everybody. What got me started? I started wrestling when I was in the second grade. I was just real drawn to it. I used to, watch professional wrestling on TV and all that. So that's kind of what I thought I was signing up for when my school gave the wrestling papers. But yeah, started doing that in second grade and did that my whole life growing up, all the way up until I graduated high school. Went to the state tournament, won my section tournament, district tournament, league runner-up. It was definitely a giant part of my life, from in my very formative years. And when I was, maybe 13, around that age, my brother, Zach, he started fighting. So he started kickboxing and, started training. He was actually training at a gym up in Ephrata. So he'd go up there a couple of days a week, at our house a couple of days a week. Every now and then him and I would box in the basement and he'd show me some stuff. And as I got more serious in wrestling, that progressed to me going to the gym with him, whether that was on the weekends or in the off season. And so I first started training down in Delaware at MVJ Athletics by Greg Pritchett. Started kickboxing, boxing with him. And then when I was 15, after a lot of provocation to my parents, trying to get them to be convinced, have my first kickboxing fight. Yeah, so I was 15 when that, and then because I was wrestling so much, I would usually only have like one fight a year. So 15, 16, 17, had 3 fights before I graduated high school. After that, went off to college, was in school, graduated, working for a little while, moved out the state, and then I moved back December of 2022 back to Lancaster, and instantly, just had to get back to Gracie 717, start training. And then, yeah, that kind of just progressed into this very busy, active year for myself and the gym and everyone around me.
So does that mean that you've had about four fights in the last year plus?
Yes, I fought in March, May, and then August at the WK National Tournament. And then just the other week up in New York for K Series.
Gotcha. And with your undefeated record, that means you won the WKA. That they kind of do like a day tournament or a 2-day tournament. How was that for you? How many fights did you fight and win? And what was it like having to fight multiple fights, usually in the same day or maybe back-to-back days?
It was a great experience. That's something I've wanted to do since I was, just starting in the game, 15, 16 years old, as I mentioned. My brother, he's fought there a couple times. A couple other people that I've trained with, Greg Pritchett III. Greg Pritchett owns MBJ and his son trains underneath him. He won 2 national titles and he was my training partner, one of my closest friends. And, it was always something I wanted to do. But like I said, I went away to college and came back. And then when I decided to fight again, I kind of set a list of goals for myself. And it was, fight 2 or 3 times before that, and then in August when the tournament comes, finally have my crack at it. And yeah, like I said, it was a great experience, very busy, so many people from all over. It was cool watching like different skill sets, and you know, you kind of get attracted to certain gyms and certain fighters you see there, and you watch their styles or certain things they throw, you know, that just stick out to you. So that was fun. But I had a fairly small bracket, which was a little disappointing at first. There was only 3 of us in the whole bracket, and one of the other guys in the bracket, I fought him in May. So I only fought him a couple months prior. And then the other guy in our bracket, that's who I ended up fighting in the finals. His name's Nahom Demasi. I believe that's how you say his last name. But real great fighter. Fought out of like the DC area. And so I had all that time off after, you know, I went to college, and then I had 6 years off of fighting. I only started training maybe 2 months before I moved back, you know, just kind of getting back in the groove of it. And then only had 2 fights before nationals. So yeah, I had prior experience, but there was a very long layoff, you know, and a lot of inactivity from fighting in that. And my opponent, Nahom, he going into the finals, he was 25-2. So it was quite a daunting task, you know, when I saw that that's who I was ending up going against. But I have, everyone says it, but I honestly believe that I have the best team, and all of us just work together so well. So we got to watch my opponent's semifinal fight. It was myself, my brother Zach, my close friend and training partner, kickboxing coach Christian Carr, and our boxing coach, Dr. Randy Fry. We all got to watch Nahom's fight in the semifinals, and you know, we never saw him fight, never heard of him, never had any experience to him. But in that quick 3-round fight, only 6 minutes, we put together a game plan, and you know, just had to execute, and that's what I did, and we walked away with the belt.
Wow, that's quite the story. Congratulations to you and the entire team. Like you said, that's a team effort. 3, 4, 5 people putting their heads together to make sure you got a game plan. There's
Mhm.
usually a coach that's real detail oriented. There's usually a coach that's more just like, it'll be okay, calm it down, you know, kind of. But that is really, really cool. And also it kind of shows that it's who you fight that matters. You know, a 3-person tournament with you being one of the 3 is, like you said, disappointing until you find out that you're fighting a 25-2 guy. So typically, if there was 8 or 9 people in your bracket, you would have thought, oh, this is a great bracket. But all those people could be, you know, 2-0, 3-1. Like you just never know. And so who you fight does matter for sure.
And that's also the thing is, you know, as I just said 2 or 3 times, but to reiterate again, I had that real long layoff, and I came back and I only had 2 fights before entering a national tournament. And, you know, there's other people on the scene. Even though it's all spread out, it's a fairly small community. You know, you usually see a lot of people, whether they win or they lose, or you just keep track of certain shows. People are, they fight on very common ground. So, you know, you kind of get an understanding of who's in your weight or around your weight and all of that. And, you know, there's a lot of people who were real active who, even though they had more than 3 wins or 3 fights or whatever the criteria was, they're still going in the novice division, and they're going against people who only have 1 or 2 fights, or maybe they're 0-2 or 0-3, and their coach is trying to throw them in there to get different type of experience. And you know, I saw a couple people talking about that on social media, and I was proud of myself because, you know, I came back after that time and just got real focused. Like I said, set a game plan with my team for what I was going to do over the next 6, 7, 8 months, and just executed. And even though there was a real difficult task in front of me, because Nahom, his style, like it was very, very unique. Just how he moved and how he threw punches. He was so relaxed and like almost looked like he was asleep in a sense in there, you know. He was really good at baiting people in and catching you off guard or catching you at weird angles or weird timing. He was real tricky. And I mean, I don't train with people like that. I've never sparred with anyone like that. I've never fought with anyone like that. So just going in there, you know, and being in that big environment and facing an opponent like that, and being able to just trust my corner, and whatever they say, that's what I'm going to do in that moment. And just, you know, staying real focused. It was I mean, it was great for myself. It was great for the team. It was a real good 3-4 hour ride back home to Pennsylvania that night for sure.
I bet that felt great, champ. So you're technically 2-time champ. Let's get to the fight that you had up in New York on January 12th. The Gamma State Kickboxing put on the K Series promotions. What
Mhm.
was the record of your opponent? You weren't doing a tournament. It was a one-off. It was an actual championship fight. What was that whole atmosphere like? And break down the fight for us.
Yeah, the first off, the event was amazing. The production value on it was higher than anywhere I've ever fought before. Excuse me. And the lights were cool, the camera was cool, giant screens, just the whole venue, everything was it was dope. It was a real cool experience. But so I got to go up against Adele Lalick. I believe he trains out of I think it's called Underdog MMA up in Connecticut, if I'm correct. But so I was 6-0 going in that fight, and he was 8-4. And I know previously, within maybe the past, let's say 3 months, he won a Freedom Muay Thai title, Rami Ibrahim's promotion,
Oh,
like the
hey,
best.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best Muay Thai promotion pretty much in the country right now. It's taken over. He's done shows in Thailand, all that. But he won a championship for them, and he was fairly traditional stance. There was some footage on him online of some recent fights, so my brother and I kind of put our heads together and watched that and came up with something, and Christian as well. But more traditional Thai and real heavy kicks. That was definitely what we noticed. Whereas his best weapon were his low kicks. He had a good teep, and yes, we went up, just had general game plan in mind, something we were prepared for, and yeah, went up. Like I said, great setup, great venue, all that, and that was that was just such like a perfect night. Like I was talking to my one buddy the other day, and I was saying, I've never felt better physically. Like I was in the best physical shape of my life. Mentally, I felt so good. Everything just fell into place, just perfect. And I mean, no disrespect, I'm not talking down to Adele, but I had zero doubt that I was going to lose. It didn't matter who was across that ring in front of me. I was just so confident in the preparation for that I knew it was a guarantee I was walking away with the belt. And Henry Hooft was there,
Oh,
like the
wow.
legend. Yeah, so he came up.
Legendary kickboxer. Wow, they got Henry
Yeah,
Hoof to
I
come to
think
that promotion in New York.
I think he was doing a seminar in New York or at one of the promoters' gyms or something along that lines. So yeah, he came to watch, and uh, we went to a seminar of his at Jersey Kickboxing a few months ago, and I got to meet him and introduce myself and show him some of my fights and a few highlights of me knocking people out and stuff. So that was real cool. And when I'm walking out, my music's playing, the lights are there. It's my turn, to step into battle. I walk onto the stage, and he's sitting there front row, and I just got to give him a smile and a fist bump, and tell him I'm excited to be able to perform in front of him. And that was just that was definitely a real cool, like, bucket list type of experience. That was sweet.
That is. That's really cool. That also shows, the fact that the sport of fighting gives you the opportunity to kind of perform something that you love, something
Mhm.
that is violent and has aspect of fighting. But unlike street fighting, you're doing it to actually be an entertainer. You're doing it to show your sport. You've talked quite a bit about the fight, the title fight. How did it go round by round? Break it down for me, having not been able to watch it. What was it like in round one? Do you feel like you won every round? Were there knockdowns? Kind of what was it in between rounds? How are things looking?
So the fight was only a round and a half. It
Oh,
was ended halfway through the second round. So I came out, and instantly, from watching my opponent's previous fights, we just knew that I had to keep him on his back foot. I had to apply a lot of pressure. I had to be the one in the face, for lack of a better sake. Like you said, you're performing. I had to lead the dance. I couldn't let him lead it. So I just came out, and instantly I'm establishing my jab, establishing my range. But man, his low kicks were good. He was kicking me in the thigh, kicked me in the calf a few times that I was feeling. Um, and they were pretty solid. But I just had to stay real quick with my jab. That was probably my best weapon, or at least my favorite weapon, looking back on the fight. It's so insane in there. You're just trying to download your opponent and pick the perfect shot. But when I think about it after the fact, or I watch it, which I have 100 times, the jab is definitely my favorite weapon that I had. It was laser accurate. Every time I hit him, his head was snapping back. It was just finding my range and hitting him just at the perfect time every single time. So I was just trying to establish that in the first round, and went back to the corner in between rounds, and everyone's just in a good mood. It's good. It's real good energy. We have a real good, myself, my brother, and Christian. I mean, Christian and I started training at Gracie around the same age, probably like around 14. And my brother's obviously my brother. So I have a good relationship with him. But Christian's grown up with me and my brother there. So it's a brotherhood. It's like three of us that have known each other our whole lives. So it's just very calm, very relaxed. It's very like we're just talking. We're just having a conversation. We're joking back and forth at times, laughing. But the advice was just, it was real simple. It was just, your punches are real good. You're landing a lot of punches, but because you're only throwing punches, he knows that you're going to be throwing punches. So just start mixing in kicks with your combos, start throwing a couple knees here and there. And the more that you change where your attacks are, where you change the level of where your attacks are, now your opponent's not going to know what's going where. You might then be able to fake a leg kick and he checks and then you hit him, or fake to the body, his hands come down, hit upstairs, whatever it may be. I just needed to diversify where I was hitting pretty much. And it was real easy. Just breathing, telling me that. Came out the second round. First, maybe 3 or 4 combos, started throwing some kicks, started pumping some knees in there. And I mean, it worked perfectly. He then started worrying about my kicks. When he'd worry about that, hit him upstairs, stumbled him with a leg kick at one point, and started backing him into the one neutral corner. Nice little head body head combo, changing target points. And I got him in the corner and I threw a really wide 3, left hook, cut an angle on him, and just my right knee came and it grazed him. And I was talking to him after the fact. Like I said, Adele's a real cool guy. But I was talking to him after the fact, and he told me the knee just hit him like right in the diaphragm.
Yeah.
And I hit him in there, just grazed him right across. And as I was bringing the knee down, slipped the 2 in, cracked him one more time with the 3, and with like a slight delayed reaction, he dropped and failed to get up for the 8 count. And that's all she wrote. I walked away with the belt, Yeah. It was awesome. It was great. Perfect game plan, perfect execution, perfect night.
Wow, that feels really good for you and for your team. That's back to back great. Obviously, you're undefeated, but back to back great execution for the WKAs and then this standalone belt. You've obviously stayed super busy. Is the plan for 2024 continue to take 3, 4, 5 fights a year? What would you like to do? You're a 7-0 amateur undefeated kickboxer. I know you're also in the area of USKA. My buddy, your buddy probably too. You guys know him, Gary Grant.
Great
Runs
guy.
USKA, great guy. They just did a really cool event in the hometown of Dylan Harnish, which I think from all accounts was kind of out in the middle of no place. But congrats to Dylan Harnish getting another belt. And he was just on the show, so if people know him, they can watch that interview as well. So what are some of your thoughts going into the future?
So right now, the only thing that's planned is, since I won WK Nationals, now I'll be competing at the WK World Tournaments in June, and that's out in Scotland. So as of right now, that's the only thing directly on the menu. But if something pops up and it's enticing, and obviously have to be for a belt. But if anything pops up and it really catches my interest or anyone around me, the team's interest, then we'll look into that. But I mean, right now, Worlds is kind of the only thing that's on my mind. I'm real focused on that, and I'm just trying to develop more skills. Like I'm training southpaw now, trying to work southpaw. I'm working on my boxing a lot. Just fine detail things that I know are gonna bring my game to the next level. Things that I personally want to work on. Like I said, southpaw was something real big because it's like anything in life. There's always innovators and people that are first doing things before the pack. And when it comes to sport, I feel it's pretty easy to find out who the innovators and who the best are, because all you have to do is look at the rankings. And fighting, I mean, there's pound for pound. So it's not only are you the best in your weight class, you're the best in the world, hands down. Doesn't matter the weight, doesn't matter anything. And right now, the best kickboxer is Chingiz Alazov, the one champion. So I watch a lot of his highlights, and I watch a lot of Alex Pereira highlights and training footage of them and pad work of them. And their fights all the time. So I just try to pick from their style. Like Chingiz, he's like the best switch hitter I've ever seen. It switches between orthodox and southpaw seamlessly. His strikes seem just as hard and just as fast in both stances. You wouldn't even be able to tell what his natural stance is. So that was something I really admired about him. And he's not that no one else does that, but he clearly is doing that the best. And like I said, whenever there's an innovator in something, within 5, 6, 7 years after, they kind of brought it to the forefront of the world, everyone's going to be doing that stuff. So I kind of realized if the best in the world are being real switch hitters right now, switching stances, being real seamless like that, throwing its basics, but throwing, spinning attacks or unorthodox strikes in there every now and then to just kind of shock and awe your opponent. If the best in the world are doing that right now, and everyone's going to be doing that in the next couple of years, I should probably be trying to do that right now. So that's kind of how I'm training. And Alex Pereira, same thing. I mean, he just crushed through the kickboxing world, now crushing through the MMA world. And we're built very similar, like similar body type. Obviously, I mean, he got a little bit of weight on me right now, but very similar body types. And I just like his style. It's so devastating and very powerful, very aggressive, very forward, but also a great counter striker. So I just try to take things that he does well and his movement and some things from his style and just incorporate that into mine as well.
Well, that is great. That's great to hear about the World Championships in Ireland. I'd love to have you back on just to do an interview about that upcoming fight. What I think is really cool, particularly about kickboxing, Muay Thai, in your case, kickboxing, is when you're talking about switch, when you're talking about being able to flow back and forth. I think of in pure boxing, and of course your brother's now doing pro. You can still switch, but a lot of times there's so much skill in one stance over the other. But what's cool about kickboxing is if you throw a knee and maybe it grazes or the person backs out, you can put the knee down and now you're in a switch stance. You can keep coming. Same thing with a kick. You can hit a leg and retract it, or as I like to sometimes teach, you hit a leg and just drop the leg down on contact, right? And now you're in the opposite stance. You Absolutely. Can also then do that going backwards, where instead of kind of feeling out of sorts, you move a little bit, you're in a different stance, but you're already used to that stance. You see that with Alex Pereira. A lot of times his counter stuff was because fighting forward in different stances means when he goes back, it's like he slipped. That's another thing for people that are working sort of fighting backwards. If you can learn slipping, then no matter where you are, you know where your weight is. And if you slip here, you should come there. If you slip there, you should come here. You kind of feel it, stuff like that. But really, really fantastic breakdown. People should really watch what you just said about your training. Let's get to the training part, the gym part. You've already mentioned Gracie 717. What brought you into there? Who are the head coaches? What's it like being part of the Gracie 717? Then I also know for boxing, you train out of Nobel Boxing. So let's talk about your gyms and coaches.
Yeah, so I'll start with Gracie. That's the second gym I ever trained at. Started training there, like I said, around 14. Damian Popolo, he's the owner of that gym. He's also lead jiu-jitsu instructor. My brother taught kickboxing there. He pretty much started the kickboxing program maybe like a decade ago now. And, he took a little bit of time away from the sport. So in that time, Christian Carr, he stepped up. He's now the head kickboxing coach, and he's a pro MMA fighter. You should definitely interview him. He just
I've had him on twice, I think.
Yeah, so he just had a great finish the other month, and hopefully get some exciting stuff coming up in the near future.
I don't think I've had him on after that, so I apologize to Strictly Business. Still remember his nickname because it's such a great nickname. And he had some creative choke finish on the ground, and I told him it should have been called the Strictly Business choke. I think he was maybe 1-0 or 2-0 as a pro. But yeah, I actually didn't realize. Apologize to Strictly Business. I didn't realize he had picked up another great win. But yeah, Christian Carr's great. He looks like a nerd, and I can say that because I'm safely over here. He doesn't look super, bulky. He wears glasses, he dresses, and he's an absolutely incredible pro fighter. I meant nerd in like the Revenge of the Nerds, good nerds.
Yeah. Got the big iron on his hip.
Yeah. Well, you were saying Christian Carr does a lot of the kickboxing now.
Yeah, he's the head coach over there. So just left class a couple hours ago, was with him 3 days a week at Gracie. And then on Saturdays, there's usually a handful of us. We go up to Algeo MMA, spar the guys up there. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and most of the time Saturday and Sunday, but maybe just one of those days. My brother has a boxing gym now called Nobel Boxing. So I get to go train over there with him. And, when I'm with Christian, I get to worry about punches, kicks, knees. And then when I'm with my brother, we just kind of get to fine tune the paws and be able to lay them on people. So it's great. To be honest, I'm real fortunate. I'm real lucky. I have two pros who have a ton of experience who just so happen to be my brother and one of my best friends who I've known my whole life, and get to train with both of them, see them, hang out with them. And it's just fun. Like, obviously the training part is hard. Your body hurts, you're sore, all of that. But it's so much just about the people that are around. And that makes you want to go to the gym, and, you get to push each other, and then you spar, and maybe, Christian lands this real nasty spin kick or like stabbing kick with his lead leg to your stomach. And then you ask him how to do that, and he gets to show you. And then, everyone just gets to grow and build off of each other. And then when class is over, the fights are over, whatever it may be, you just go get some pizza and kick it and watch fights and just be friends. It's great. I'm real lucky, and we have a great team.
Well, I'm glad you got to talk about both Gracie 717 and Noble Boxing. Hats off and congratulations to your brother, not only on his pro boxing career going very well, but also on opening up his own boxing gym. That's fantastic. I really will want to get Christian Carr back on the show. I followed him. I think I've had him on 2 different times. Maybe once as an amateur, or maybe once or twice as a pro, and definitely want to continue to follow the Gracie 717 guys. Already a shout out if anybody from Gracie 717 is kind of an up and comer, you included, of course, but MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, reach out to me. I Luke Payson on Facebook. I check all of my my messages. Shoot me a friend request. That's how I usually set things up. Open to pretty much anybody that's in the world of MMA or competitive jiu-jitsu, things like that. Really fantastic having you on the show. When is the Ireland international trip for you?
WK Worlds, it's in Motherwell, Scotland. It's going to be, I believe the day is June 19th to June 26th. It's like a week trip. We go out there, have however many fights, however many people want to get defeated by me. They want to travel the world and have their dreams be crushed.
Well, I want to have you back on in May or maybe early June, and I apologize for all the Scottish people watching this, that the tens and tens of Scottish people watching this. I said Ireland. I obviously meant Scotland, completely different situation. So super honored to have you on. First time guest of the show, hopefully the first of many times. Really, I've appreciated you coming on. I already have gotten to know your brother and your other like sort of honorary brother in Christian. So glad to get the trifecta on. Totally. So sorry you were the last one out of the 3 guys to come on. But really an honor to have you on. Hey, yeah, save the best, the most handsome, most handsome for last, of course. Always fantastic to have somebody new on, particularly somebody highly rated, highly ranked, undefeated, double champ. Really an honor. My name, as always, it hasn't changed yet, is Luke Payson for MMA Fancast, and my guest tonight, first time guest of the show, double champ, Jake Kelly.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother,
for coming on, brother. You take care. Have a good one. Congrats to you and to your teams of Gracie 717 and Noble Boxing. You have a great night.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
Yeah.